Which hadith must we do from? Read Bismillah. Come closer. رضي الله عنه قال جاء حل من اليهود إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وقال يا محمد إن الله يمسك السماوات يوم أمسك يمسك إن الله يمسك إن الله يمسك السماوات يوم القيامة على أصبع والأرضين على أصبع والجبال والشجر على أصبع والماء والثرى على أصبع وسائر الخلق على أصبع ثم يهزهن فيقول أنا الملك أنا الله. فضحك رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تعجبت الله قال الحبر ثم قرأ وما قدر الله حق قدره والأرض جميعا قبضته يوم القيامة والسماوات قبضيات بيمينه سبحانه وتعالى عما يشركون. متفق عليه. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وعن عبد الله بن مسعود قال جاء حبر من اليهود إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. That narrated in authority of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Once a scholar from the Jews came to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فقال يا محمد, he said, oh Muhammad, إن الله يمسك السماوات يوم القيامة على إصبع. There's an ayah that's similar to this. يمسك السماوات أن تزولا, right? But verily Allah Ta'ala, He will keep the skies on the day of Qiyamah على إصبع, upon one finger, right? So the whole earth, etc., will be balanced on one finger. وَالْأَرْضِينَ عَلَى إِصْبَعٍ, and also the lands also on one finger. All of the lands will be on one finger, right? وَالْجِبَالَ, the mountains, and the trees, right? على إصبعٍ. وَالْمَاءَ, the water. وَالثَّرَى, ثَرَارِفَةُ, the soil, the moist soil that is beneath the surface of the earth, right? على إصبع. وسائر الخلق على إصبع, and all of the creation on one finger. ثم يهزهن, then he will shake it. فيقول, and he will say, أنا الملك, I'm the king. أنا الله, I'm Allah. فضحك رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم تعجبا. Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم laughed out of surprise. مما قال, from what this person said, right? قال الحبر تصديقا, right? مما قال الحبر, from what this scholar said, تصديقا. So from the way he laughed, you could see he was, like, so to say, affirming what he said. ثم قرأ, then he said, وما قدر الله قدره. Nice. Appreciate Allah Ta'ala. والأرض جميعا and the earth of all of it قبض سبحانه وتعالى is pure and is beyond from that which it says most of the what is mentioned in this here is you can say there's a you do this also in Balagh. It's called muqtabas. It is taken from the Quran. All of this ayat here, right? So here it is making a reference that after you blow in the sur on Qiyamah Day, all of these things will be in the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just like it off, right? Remember we said that Allah Ta'ala will exert his full control, even the figurative kings. Because Allah Ta'ala was always the literal king, right? Allah Ta'ala was always the literal owner. But even the literal, the figurative owners, even the figurative owners, on that day they will disappear. On that day they will cease to exist, right? So Allah Ta'ala will be in complete control. And as I told you, all of these words here, they are mostly taken from what? They are mostly taken from the Quran. Hebrew normally referred to like a great scholar, a great scholar from amongst the Yahud, the Jama with Ahbar, also from the Quran. So the scholar from among the Jews, the Hebrew, he sketched up, he gave an example of what will happen on Qiyamah Day. And like I told you, remember we told you, Allah Ta'ala laysa kamithlihi shay wa huwa samiul basir. Allah Ta'ala is free from any, it's not so clear. Let's check if everything is fine. Telling you, Allah Ta'ala does not have hands, etc. Allah Ta'ala is free from hands. Allah Ta'ala is free from anything that resembles bodily parts, etc. What it basically means is everything will be in the complete control of Allah Ta'ala. Allah Ta'ala will show his all complete control. So like hands, yad, according to us, it is representative of Qudrat, etc. Are you with me? So it's just showing Allah Ta'ala will exert his complete control and he will show us that everything belongs to him on the day of Qiyamah. Read the next verse, the next hadith. رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من قوله يوم تبدل الأرض غير الأرض والسماوات فأين يكون الناس يومئذ قال على الصراط. The next hadith is quite an interesting hadith that speaks also about Qiyamah Day, etc. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها قالت سألت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن قوله. Aisha Siddiqa رضي الله تعالى says, once I asked Rasulullah with regards to this verse, يوم تبدل الأرض غير الأرض, and on that day the earth will be changed غير الأرض, to besides the earth. What does that mean? It will be changed to another earth, right? والسماوات, and also the skies. So she says, فَأَيْنَ يَكُونُ النَّاسِ Ya Rasulullah, if the earth will be changed, where will the people be on that day? Right? فَيَكُونُ يَوْمَئِذٍ قَالَ عَلَى الصِّرَاطِ, they will be on the sirat. رواه مسلم, Imam Muslim narrates this. Now interesting, I told you, this is speaking about all أحوال القيامة, أحوال الحشر, etc. Right? Remember what the discussion we are doing. So look here, one is When we speak about change here in Arabic, it could mean one of two things. One is to be replaced, or one is to change in form. You understand what I'm saying? So some ulama say, yeah, to be replaced. So the earth will be replaced. So the earth itself will be replaced with a new earth, a new moon, a new sun, new skies. So that is tabdil means to be replaced. And then the other mean is tahir, not to be replaced, but to be changed. That means the sifat of the earth, the skies, etc. on that day will change. Now there is another hadith that also says, we'll come across it as we go deeper into the chapter of Qiyamah, that the earth will be changed like into a large, huge, soft piece of bread, like like a roll, like something like that. To such an extent, it will be so soft that people will actually be able to eat from the earth. Although here the Sharia say the first call which says that the earth will be replaced with another earth, that is the preferred explanation. But we'll do more of this, inshallah. More of this will come later on. So as Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala asked, Ya Rasulullah, if the earth will be changed, etc., then where will the people be on that day? Where will the people be when the change is taking place? So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam answered and said that on that day, people will be on the Pul Sirat, they will be on the Pul Sirat. But as I said, inshallah, as we go deeper into the chapter, when we go on Ahwal al-Qiyamah, etc., you will do a bit more explanation of that, right? Read the next hadith. مكوران. So you know what the tahqiq is? كور is كور يكور مكور. كبر يكور مكور. So that is what? Is اسم المفعول ثلاثي مزيد فيه وفعل يفعل scale. The واحد is, I mean the ثلاثي مجرد كور. And obviously this is the مفعول scale, right? So that would mean بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وعن أبي هريرة قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الشمس والقمر مكوران يوم القيامة رواه البخاري. Narrated now authority was Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He said that Rasulullah said that the sun and the moon, kawara means, this also comes in the hadith. It speaks about ala kawri imamatihi. That kana Rasulullah yasjudu ala kawri imamatihi. That Rasulullah used to make sajda upon the fold of his turban. So it means that they too will be folded. And it's also taken from the Quran, matwiyatum biyamini. So مكوران يوم القيامة رواه البخاري. Imam Bukhari narrates this. So in some, as I said, as we go through the hadith, we will discuss more of this. But here, briefly, for the time being, in the Sharah is mentioned, it will become lightless. It will lose its light. And it will be thrown into the fire. And why will this be done? This will be done as a lesson or as a hasrat for those people who used to worship the sun. Atish parast log. To show them that this thing you worship was a false god. It was not a true god. It was a false god, It was not a true God. It is only Allah Ta'ala who is a true God. Allahu wal-wahidul qahhar. To establish the complete sovereignty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. Read the next one. عن ابي سعيد الخدري رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كيف انعم نعم ينعم كيف انعم واصغى سمعه اذا مفعول وحنى جبهته يؤمر. قالوا يا رسول الله وما تأمرنا قال قولوا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. Okay, this is a beautiful hadith here. Like, let me translate for you, then I'll give you the explanation. This is the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wa an Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, narrating the authority of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, Rasulullah said, كيف أنعم? How can I enjoy this world? How can I have peace whilst this is happening? وصاحب السور الإسرافيل, right? صاحب السور قد التقمه. Iltaqama means literally to make a morsel of something. So it means to put in your mouth. And this word also comes in the Quran. Look at me. فالتقمه الحوت وهو مليم فلولا أنه كان من المسبحين للبث في بطنه إلى يوم يبعثون. The whale made a morsel of Hazrat Yunus alayhi salam. So iltaqama means to take something in your mouth. So just imagine this. Imagine this now. Nabi said, how can I enjoy when Israfil, he's already got the horn in his mouth. He's got the sword in his mouth. And he's what is azgha? He's lending his ear to wait for the command. What he's doing? Azgha. Yeah, the right word is you say, what you say, you're straining your ears, like if somebody's saying something, you don't want to miss what he's saying. Maybe just imagine this, the sheikh is speaking, the teacher is speaking, and he's mentioning something important. So you're leaning forward with all your ears. You want to hear, you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss. So here Nabi Sallallahu is saying that Israfil, he's leaning forward, he's waiting. And if Allah Ta'ala issues the command, he won't miss the command. So right? وَأَذْغَى وَحَنَى جَبْهَتَهُ, and he has lowered his head, ready, like when you lower your head down to bring it towards the stool. وحنى جبهته. Why is it ينتظر متى يؤمر? He is waiting when he will be commanded, right? فقالوا يا رسول الله. So he's saying, how can a person enjoy? How can you engage in revelry, festivities? How can you become complacent? How can you become negligent when the surah can be sounded out any second? Any second, the surah can be sounded out. That was you supposed to be conscious of this, right? وَمَا تَأْمُرُنَا. So Sahaba Ikram said, Ya Rasulullah, so now what do you advise us? That the surah can be blown anytime and our lives can come to an end, etc. Right? So what do you, right? قالوا, قال, he said, قولوا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. Say, Allah Ta'ala is sufficient for us. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, and wa ni'mal wakil, and Allah Ta'ala is the best one to entrust your matters in. Rawahu Tirmidhi, Imam Tirmidhi narrates. I've just come to my mind. I don't know if ever you see these clips of these people in Palestine, Gaza, whenever they're faced with an insurmountable tragedy, when the living daylight has been bombed out of them, and they've had so many shuhada, etc. What's the thing they say all the time? They say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakil. So just came to my mind now. This just came to my mind. You see, these are the words that's going to help you at the time of Qiyamah. What is this? This is when you are faced with tragedy. This is the words going to help you. And if you look at those people in Gaza, what were they facing? They were facing Qiyamah-like conditions. I mean, if you look at the amount of people that was killed, if you look at the bombardment that take place. This is abnormal. There's no precedent for this in the history of mankind. Yes, maybe they say maybe World War II, I think they dropped a similar amount of bombs, but that was over large areas. Yet in the whole World War II, the amount of bombs is dropped on one small area. So these people, they faced Qiyamah-like conditions. What they faced, and they are using the same nuskha or the same recipe to help you contend with Qiyamah. So when you are facing things which you feel seem like insurmountable, you see like Qiyamah came away. Sometimes some tests come on you. You feel like Qiyamah came upon you. You feel like Qiyamah came upon you. Then you have to say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Inshallah, that will give you the strength to deal with those insurmountable challenges. Right. Iltaqam, I told you, is to make a morsel of something. And in this context, obviously, he's not going to eat the sur, but it means he's got it in his mouth and he's leaning, straining his ears, lowers his head in submission, and is about to blow the sur, waiting and anticipating for the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Read the next hadith. السور قرن ينفخ فيه السور قرن ينفخ فيه. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. When Abdullah ibn Amr, remember Amr is with the wow, then it becomes Munsarif. Without the Umar is Khair Munsarif because he was Amir, remember. So عن عبد الله بن عمرو عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال السور قرن ينفخ فيه رواه الترمذي وأبو داود والدارمي. Narrate authority of Abdullah ibn Amr, and he narrates from Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said that the sur is like a horn, right? ينفخ فيه, it will be blown in it. So remember, obviously in previous days, you didn't have the technology, etc., what we have today, and maybe fancy things. Things were natural. People would use natural things. So same thing here. This would refer to like a huge, in fact, in the next hadith or something, there's more explanation with regards to the size of the sur. So the shape of a horn, or do you say nothing? And remember, as Israfil alayhi salam, you will blow the sur 2 times. One is for the destruction of the entire world, and you'll have that 40 years in between. And then after this, to give the people life again for a second time. Right? And here it's mentioned also that the sur is so huge that all the earth and all the heavens can fit in the sur. Right, read the next hadith. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وعن ابن عباس في قوله تعالى فإذا نقر في الناقور، يعني السور قال والراجفة النفخة الأولى والرادفة الثانية. رواه البخاري في ترجمة باب. Right now, the authority of Ibn Abbas, he says in the statement, in other words, he's giving tafsir of the ayat of Allah Ta'ala, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, فَإِذَا نُقِرَ فِي النَّاقُورِ, then when it is blown, right, in the sur, in the horn. So he says, قَالَ وَالرَّاجِفَةُ النَّفْخَةُ الْأُولَى. This comes in the Quran in Surah Nazi'ah. And Allah Ta'ala used the word there, radifa, right? So he's saying that, rajifa. Rajifa referred to, this is the name for the first blowing, or rajifa an-nafkhatul ula, and radifa al-thaniya, and radifa is referred to the second blowing, right? So the first blowing has got a specific name, and the second blowing also has a specific name. Then Rawahu al-Bukhari, Imam Bukhari narrates, fi tarjimati babin. Inshallah, we will also we'll move to Bukhari, we'll do Bukhari Shareef. So like how here, you have in your, you have your heading, Now, in Bukhari Sharif, every bab has got a heading. Imam Bukhari put a heading. So normally, generally, in that heading, he's put his conclusion and understanding of the hadith that is forthcoming. His conclusion. That is why it said, فقه البخاري في ترجمته. فقه البخاري في ترجمته. That the fiqh of Bukhari Sharif, the understanding is in the tarjuma. It's called tarjumatul bab. So whatever Imam Bukhari understands from the hadith, he writes that in the tarjuma. So normally in the tarjuma, he even use maybe another hadith, and that hadith is his understanding and explanation of the previous hadith. So he has a lot of mu'allaq riwayat. Mu'allaq riwayat means he mentioned a hadith without the chain of narrators, etc. in the tarjumatul bab. So he's saying that this hadith that is here, it actually is found. Remember, this is the first Lusani, and the first Lisani is supposed to be hadith from the Sunan. Remember, I told you it's from the Sunan, and so this is found in the Tarjumatul Bab of Bukhari Sharif. Okay, read the next hadith. وأي يساره. Right. Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. One Abi Sa'idin also narrated as the story of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He said, قال ذكر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم صاحب السور, that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned the person of the sur, which is the angel, that is Israfil alayhi salam. وقال أي يمينه جبرائيل, on his right is Jibra'il alayhi salam. وأي يساره ميكائيل, and his left is Mikael alayhi salam. In other words, this is the positions where they are standing at attention and waiting for the command of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sorry, for the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to execute his orders. Carry on. وما آية ذلك في خلقه قال أما مررت ثم مررت به يهتز خضرا. قلت نعم. قال فتلك آية الله في خلقه وكذلك يحيي الله الموتى. رواهما رزين. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Interesting. وعن أبي رزين الأقيلي, narrated upon the Sahabi's name, رزين الأقيلي, said, قلت يا رسول الله, I said, يا رسول الله, كيف يعيد الله الخلق? How will Allah Ta'ala return? Aada yu'idu means to return, but in this context here, it means how will Allah Ta'ala recreate his creation after the first nafakha, that means, right? Because there's a relevance we're speaking about, right? كيف يعيد الله الخلق وما آية ذلك في خلقه. And ayah means sign, but here you can say it to mean, is there any parallel for that? Any example of that? في خلقه, in his creation. Then the Rasul said, Ama means like the royal attention, mararta biwadi qawmik. Did you not pass by a valley of your people? Jadban, dry, desolate, barren, right? ثم مررت به, then you pass by again. يهتز, this word actually comes from the Quran. اهتزت وربت وأنبتت فيها من كل زوج بهيج. Then يهتز خضرا, then it is, you can say, it is a lush. And khadran is like the khalia, right? قلت نعم, yes. فتلك آيات الله في خلقه, then that is the sign Allah Ta'ala with regards to his creation. كذلك يحيي الله الموتى, like that Allah Ta'ala gives life to the dead. رواهما رزين. So the interesting thing here is, just look here, not only in this verse, but even in other verses where the mushrikeen had expressed doubt. The mushrikeen had expressed doubt about Allah Ta'ala giving life to the creation for a second time. Allah Ta'ala, there are several places also, he gives the example of how, like after land that dies, it becomes barren, all the vegetation dies. Allah Ta'ala can give life to it again for a second time. So similarly, if Allah Ta'ala can give the dead land life and He can make it lush and green for a second time, what is so difficult that Allah Ta'ala can give insan life for a second time? And in this particular context here, He's speaking about giving life to the creation after it being destroyed after the first nafaqah. Are you with me? So there's fatilka ayatullah fi khalqi. That is the sign of Allah Ta'ala with regards to creation. Kazalika yuhil al mauta. And like that, Allah Ta'ala gives life to the dead. Now, okay, that is with regards to the hadith. It's pretty simple. That brings us to the end of the chapter. But this year, rawahuma razinun. I want to just speak a little bit about this because we finished a bit early. We got extra time. Remember, we told you in Mishkaat Sharif is not a primary source of hadith. Ne? It is a secondary source of hadith. It is like your Riyadus Salihin, it is like your Targhib wa Tarhib, it's like your Arba'in and Nawawi, etc., etc. Remember, it's taken from the other usuls. So it's the original books where the author he mentioned a hadith which he heard directly from his ustad. He never, and this was more or less like compiled like about 200 years after Nabi Sallallahu like Bukhari, Muslim. These are the usul. Then later on, other ulama came and then they took from those books and they made like comprehensive compilations. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some, like I told you about Kuduri Sharif, how it's taken from the usul. So like that, Mishkat Sharif is also taken from other books. It's taken. So the whole idea was this is like to take all the hadith books together, leave out the repetitions, and give you one comprehensive book. So I was telling you that if you look at Mishkat Sharif, actually it's 17 of the big hadith books, the Say Sitta, etc., etc., that has been put together, and the repetitions has been removed from it. So it is not a primary hadith book. It's a secondary one that is taken from the primary ones. That's why I see Rawah al-Bukhari, Rawah Abu Dawud, Rawah al-Bayhaqi, etc., etc. You following what I'm saying so far, right? So we're just going a bit into this because we got the time, we finished early. So now you got, when you study Mishkat Sharif, you're studying over 17 books that is enthroned in one without the repetitions. And it's for this reason it has been chosen. So for many years in the Indo-Pak continent, many India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all of this was one place before the colonialists divided up. For hundreds of years, this was the final book you do in Hadith. This was the final book you do in Hadith, and because of its comprehensive nature. Only when Shah Walillah Muhaddith Delhi traveled to the Arab world and he came back, and after that they introduced the Sayyid Sita, etc. But if you look at it, when you study Mishkat Sharif, you are studying Sayyid Sita and more. What are you studying? Sayyid Sita and more. Right? Even Sheikh Albani, he was Albanian Saudi. He also, the ta'liq on this here. But anyway, so the next thing is this here. Remember I told you the original book was written by Khatib Tabrizi. You're going to do this one, Nazir. I'm going to show you where it's going to fit in. So he wrote the first fasal and he claimed everything was in Bukhari and Muslim. So there you find Sahib Mishkat, when he came later on, he referenced Rawal Bukhari, Rawal, and whatever. He never find it, he told. Then the second fasal is where you got the Sunan, that's Abu Dawud, Ibn Majah, Nasa'i, Muwatta Imam Malik, etc. Right? And they also Sahib Mishkat reference. So he only referenced. The third edition was now the contribution of Sahib Mishkat that came later. He added the third fasal, and what he done is when he added the third fasal, he added those books, those riwayat which he felt was relevant to the Bab, which was relevant to the Bab, but Sahib Mishkat, originally Khatib Tabrizi, never put it in. Are you with me? So this is the contribution of Sahib Mishkat. So he took, in the third fasal, you'll find, so the third fasal is not confined to Bukhari or Muslim, or it's not confined to Sunan Arba, from anywhere, whether it was from Bukhari or Muslim, or whether it was from the Sunnah Arba'a or Bayhaqi or Jamul, anything he put, but he just falls is relevant. Right, so you got that. Now the main thing I want to tell you is here, Rawahuma Razin. Now the interesting thing what I wanted to tell you here is Razin Razin also, Imam Razin, he wasn't also from the Usul, like Bukhari, Muslim. His book also was a secondary source. It was like how Mishkat is a secondary source. It is taken from other books. Like how You got your Riyad al-Salihin. It was taken from the other books. You got Targhib wa Tarhib. It is taken from other books. Imam Razi's book was also a secondary source. Now, the interesting thing what I want to mention to you is this. Today we don't have a copy of Imam Razi's book. We don't have it. We don't have it. It's mafqood. Mafqood. It's been lost with the passage of time. It has been lost with the passage. But what's interesting is here, Sahib Mishkat, the fact that he's quoting from Imam Razim shows that he had the copy by him. Are you with me? Understood? So he probably, in his time, when he authored his book, or he made his contribution to Mishkat Shareef, and he added the third person, he probably had what? He had a copy of Imam Razim's book, and Imam Razim's book also, I told you, it was not a primary source. It was also a secondary source, similar to Mishkat, similar to, and the irony is, Mishkat is a secondary source, but here, Sahib Mishkat is also quoting from a secondary source. Right, so you got that, you understood that. I hope you found the discussion enlightening. Anyway, we stopped there, inshallah. Now we will switch over to our tafsir.